Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for the remake, reboot, whatever you'd like to call this, even though it's really none of that, of Evil Dead from 2013. I was a senior in high school when this came out, and I loved it when I saw it back in the day. I've seen it probably 6 or 7 times now. I love this flick. It may possibly be tied with the original movie as my personal favorite of the series. I don't know. It's one of these two. I haven't seen Evil Dead Rise yet, of course, but it's getting amazing reviews. Kind of doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't look like that great of a film, but that's just my thoughts. Anyway, this movie is very similar to this movie, but the title even is very different. Of course, it's not The Evil Dead, it's Evil Dead. 2013 this movie came out, as I said, and when it came out it was very controversial, and to this day it still kind of maintains this title of being the possibly bloodiest movie ever made. There's a lot of bloody films out there. Being a slasher fan, I've seen many of them. I've seen most of them, if you will. And I'll tell you this movie still shocks me to this day with how horrifically gory it is. But at the same time, it's not really a scary movie per se. Evil Dead 2013, again, is not really a remake or a reboot. It takes the concept of the original film. It has a lot of scattered references to a lot of different movies in the original trilogy of films. Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. And even though I'm not a big fan of the series, again, I've said it over and over again, this is a phenomenal movie. This is the most well-made, the most competently made, most objectionably great film of the entire series, in my personal opinion. Now, there's a lot of differences between this and the previous 3 films. Of course, a couple of years after this, we had Ash vs. Evil Dead start, the TV show. I've only seen Season 1 so far. I'm going to review that here soon. Not today, but sometime soon. We'll see when that review comes up. Anyway, Evil Dead 2013. What is this film about? We have a group of kids, and surprisingly this film is very heartfelt because of this. They're teenagers, young adults, whatever, probably more like 25 years old, somewhere in that ballpark. They take one of the friends up to a cabin that she used to go to with her friends, her family, whatever, back in the day. She has very good memories of this cabin, mainly because she's a heroin addict, and they're trying to put her on rehab for the weekend and just kind of allow her to heal, get away from the drugs, get away from the city where she can't just run back into town and give up halfway through the process. And while they're there, they also manage to bring her brother, who was kind of an Ash Williams stand-in. He doesn't have the name Ash, he doesn't have a nickname named Ash, he just kind of wears a blue button-up. He has his hair styled like Ash in the original movie from 1981. And he's kind of our main character, but also this sister character is also kind of our main character too. We kind of jump back and forth between the two, but a lot of the third act focuses on her, surprisingly enough. The movie really centers around one of the kids, this guy with long hair and glasses. He wanders down into kind of a basement cellar area. He finds a book of skin. Yeah, it's a book made of skin, the Necronomicon. In this film, it doesn't have a face. It's just kind of a book with stitched up skin and whatever for the cover. And as he reads out of it, some spirits, some demonic spirits, demons, whatever, come to life, and they start to go after these guys and attack them out in the woods, in the house, all over the place. People are getting possessed, people are mutilating themselves, mutilating others. For like 5 or 6 people stranded in a one-location movie, that kind of film, for me, really works typically, like the Saw movies, for example. I love that kind of thing. The original Evil Dead works really well. Evil Dead 2, not a big fan, but that concept works and the execution doesn't for that movie. But the one location setting types of films, I really like that kind of thing for horror. Evil Dead 2013 makes the best of that, and it really lands most of the time, I would say. It's really effective, really crazy, really over the top. These characters here don't even have the best writing. It's mainly the acting and the directing of these folks that really brought everybody into the loop and really made everybody give a great, phenomenal performance about people who just cared about a friend of theirs. They wanted to help see her overcome her demons, in this case, drugs. It's very emotionally powerful for that, and every time I watch it, by the end of it, it makes me want to cry. I know that sounds like a little bitch of a thing to say, but you know, it's true. The film is very effective in that regard, and I love it for that. It manages to do something that a lot of horror can't do. They should strive for it, but this one really manages to land it, you know? This is a horrifically gory film. If you're squeamish at all, you do not need to see Evil Dead 2013. It is very, very bloody. There's a lot of shit in this film that I've never seen ever done before or after this movie came out. And again, I still think it maintains, for good reason, that old label of being the goriest film ever made, the bloodiest movie ever made, that kind of thing. It wasn't just shock MSN, news articles. It was like a real thing, and I don't blame people for saying that, because it really manages to stick that landing as well if you're looking for a gory movie. It's very effective in that regard. Again, not really scary. There's some good tension building. There's a lot of character stuff, mainly with our main chick and her brother, who's kind of the Ash Williams kid. All of that stuff really works really well, even if the writing isn't the strongest character-focused thing. But for a slasher movie, is it really effective? Hell yeah, absolutely. It's very effective. For kind of a horror trapped in a cabin in the woods type of thing, is it really effective? Hell yeah. As I said, it's a very, very good movie for all of that. The look of the film is beautiful. Fede Alvarez, I believe is how you say his name, directed and I believe wrote the film. He's also the guy who did Don't Breathe. And I think even the main chick that plays the drug addict in this movie is the main character in that film, I believe as well. Don't Breathe I actually haven't seen, that or its sequel, so eventually I'll get around to watching that and reviewing it, I guess, at some point on the channel. But I really, really, really enjoy the fact that this is a beautiful looking film. The fall time, the dead trees out in this area, the cabin itself being so kind of run down, but kind of homey on the inside, but still run down overall. It really fits for that typical horror movie feel. And when I went into this movie originally in 2013, I thought, this is probably going to be a comedy of some sort. It wasn't advertised like that at all. And I was surprised. They went away from the humor tone. They went away from what 2 and 3 were doing. They went straight to the original 1981 film and the idea of being a serious, straightforward, dark movie that had a lot to say, mainly with drug addiction and symbolic stuff in the movie focused and referencing to that. And again, there's a lot of callbacks to other things in the previous trilogy, which I thought were really nice for fans of the series, even though Bruce Campbell is not really in the film at all. He has like a little tiny thing in the post-credits, that's about it. But a lot of fans I don't think were really expecting him not to be in the film. People were kind of mad about that, I remember. But I think it benefited from that. As much as I love Bruce Campbell, as much as I like him in Army of Darkness, I think that's his best performance. Maybe the film would have benefited with him here, but I really love what we got. I think it was a very strong movie, a lot of really horrific stuff, and I do hope we eventually, we'll get that sequel that we were promised all this time that's been in production hell for so damn long. Anyway, the practical effects. The practical effects are phenomenal. They look so good. They are so realistic, dude. There is so much shit in this movie, like I said, that you've never seen done before or after the 2013 remake or reboot, whatever, of Evil Dead. It's super impactful. It will bother you. It will probably traumatize you in some ways because you're going to see some, not just mutilations of other people, but self-mutilization too. Or mutilation. Whatever the word would be. The Deadites are not just about killing you. They want to kill their human hosts as well, which is really cool. The Deadites' look is really nice. I like the kind of golden-rimmed eyes. That's really neat too. The new one, Evil Dead Rise, has kind of something similar with like white eyes or like kind of bluish, something like that, silverish. I thought that was kind of a cool throwback to this movie that a lot of people forget this even exists, which is a shame because it's so damn good. But the practical effects here are really good. There's not really much CGI at all, which is kind of surprising. I really didn't expect it to do that. As I rewatched it this time around, I really wanted to pay attention to the effects just to see. But I would say about 90% of it are straight up real practical effects actually happening right there in front of you. That makes it even more hurtful, I guess, as the audience, impactful, whatever you'd like to call it. It really, really hits you right in the gut. Anyway, the music is really solid. The film doesn't have as strong of an atmosphere, as the original movie, but it has its own tension and atmosphere that works for its own self. That music that's barely there really works for that as well. And when it's really impactful, when it's really loud, anything like that, it works so well. Anyway, with all that being said, that's all I really have to tell you about my opinions on Evil Dead from 2013. This is an incredible flick. I really recommend it if you haven't seen it before. It's a really good watch. Really horrifying. I'm being honest with you. This film will scar you. If any movie could ever scar you, this is it. Not Human Centipede, not Serbian Film, even though that has its moments too. This is the movie that will really fuck you up. I promise you. Anyway, if I had to rate Evil Dead 2013, the remake, reboot, whatever the hell you want to call it, on a 5-star basis, I would probably give it like a Probably a 5 out of 5, dude. I really don't have any complaints about it. I understand getting away from Ash Williams entirely is something people probably don't like. I understand that. I understand the fans on that. But you have to understand, as a massive fan of this original movie and how Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, as good as that was, forsook this movie. This really brought it back to light and really appreciated this original film so much, and I love that about it. Anyway, have you seen Evil Dead 2013? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments down in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. God bless you all. Sorry for taking so long to get around to making this review, but I tried some stuff on another channel, and I don't know. I'm not happy with these videos. I'm not happy with those videos. I'm not really happy with anything right now with content-wise. My life is great. It's just the content stuff. I just can't really land it the way I want to. Anyway, thank you all for watching again. God bless you all, and goodbye. I missed.